And we are live. Thank you, everybody, for joining us on the Spy Shack podcast, a podcast where superfans get together and talk the latest episode of Survivor. This particular episode is the final episode of Survivor Game Changers. Whether you are happy for it or upset about it, we're gonna talk about it, and you guys can tell us exactly what you thought of the finale. With me, as always, is Mark. Mark, how are you doing today?
I'm great. It was a very exciting finale to watch.
And Randy, how are you doing today?
I'm doing well, trying to deal with the biggest game changer of them all, figuring out what I'm going to do on Wednesday nights.
That's always the dilemma, right? Want to thank you everybody who is joining us live, and anybody who pretty much has been joining us all season. Thank you very much. We will continue doing this live, and we want to keep welcoming everybody. Remember to subscribe and to join us next season. We said last week we had a surprise announcement, and we kind of did it at the end of the last episode, but we're gonna go ahead and do it now again. Next week, and I believe that will be on the first. We're gonna have a special guest who is Adam Klein, who will be joining us to recap the season as a whole. And also, we're going to just do an interview. So if you have any questions for him, let us know, and we'll go ahead and ask him. All right, guys. So let's not do any prognostication. Well, what am I saying? Let's just start. Let's see here. So we start off the episode with the aftermath of of Sarah using her double what is it? Her double vote, right? Or her vote steal.
Vote steal.
And we tried to use it on her. It backfired. She didn't read the fine print. We know that it's gonna backfire on her pretty bad because of the way they framed it last week. What did y'all think of Sarah's confronting Cirie this episode?
I was amazed by the way that Cirie flipped it. She got out of trouble within the first 5 minutes of that discussion. It was amazing how she does that. This is like peak Cirie. You see her immediately. All of a sudden, they walked away and Ty was in trouble. And it's just amazing the way that she did it. I thought that Sarah handled it pretty well. I thought she may have been a little aggressive, but I think she had the right to be angry about it, and I think she handled it overall pretty well. Ty just crumbled when it came to it, but it was really interesting to see Cirie weasel her way out of it.
Yeah, Mark.
Cirie was at pretty much peak gameplay at that point, and just the way they just pushed everything on the Ty. It was really, really interesting, exciting to watch.
I thought it was great character building for both of them because they were like, first we see Sarah being upset because I could have used that for later. It's your fault. But then she right away she's like, I'm sorry, you're right. It was his fault. So she actually apologizes to Cirie for being upset at her, and then all that, all of a sudden, all that, like Randy said, it shifts over to Ty. So what do you guys think in the chat? What did you think of that move? We'll come back to that. So we go to one of my favorite immunity challenges. The favorite type of any immunity challenge there can be, and that's the maze. Did you like the design of the maze?
Yeah, I thought it was pretty good. It didn't seem all that complex because everyone got done pretty close to the same time. I liked it. I thought the puzzle was a cool puzzle to add on to it. That it was a similar type of puzzle that we're used to seeing, but it did seem kind of tricky, where you kind of had to defy gravity on certain parts. So I love these sort of challenges too. Whenever they have the big, like more production behind it and more of a big set piece, I love that. I thought it was just visually, I thought it was awesome.
Yeah, with all the colors and stuff, it's harder. They made it a little bit harder this season just by making the colors so so jumbled, so mixed up, and so the survivor, it's hard for the survivors to just follow visually with a path and anything. They just have to run through it.
Yeah. The only thing that I had when I first saw it, I'm like, oh man, I wish these were tall walls so they can't actually see where they're going.
Yeah.
I think the colors breaking up around them and going in and out, I think that actually helped disorient them. So I think that helped. And I get why they wouldn't want to go all the way up, especially if they got to tear that down later on.
But yeah,
and hard to shoot.
You have to be able to get a good camera angle too, and that's going to be hard. You have high walls.
Yeah. So overall, love the maze. Shell says she loves the maze, and I think I'm pretty sure Doug said that he had loved the maze as well last time. What did I see this wrong, or did I see this correctly? Actually, is what I should say. When there's the different stations, not all stations had all the different colors, right? They had to make sure they get to the right station, because I only saw 3 barrels at each station.
Yeah.
Was it? I think the way that they had it was there was like a big like mast for like a sail that kind of stuck up high, and I think there was 3 on one side of it and 3 on the other. So I think they may not have been right next to each other, but you got to them the same way.
Oh, okay. Because I saw like 5 different stations, but there were only 3 bags they needed to get. So I thought maybe they spread them out.
I think they were in the same place, just kind of just a little bit spread out by a couple feet.
All right. So in this particular reward, it was reward challenge as well as immunity. Brad wins it, he pulls it out. He's able to start. This is what his third immunity. So a couple episodes ago, Jeff was just like, Brad gets his first immunity challenge win ever, and now he's up to 3, and he's gonna tie the record at the end of this episode. So, what do you guys think? Did you guys think he was gonna be able to do it?
He didn't have a lot of physical competition. He got rid of all of the big physical competitors like Ozzy, like Michaela, even Sierra, Don Thomas. A lot of the more physical threats were gone. So it was impressive that he won it on some puzzles. Like he got through the puzzles, but he's a lawyer. He's got to be somewhat intelligent. So
or stubborn.
It was impressive.
So yeah, so the reward is that he's gonna get this chicken parmesan with what else was in there? It was a meal.
I think there's like key lime pie.
Yeah, something like that.
There was a lot of weird stuff. Like the least I'm worried about right in a finale is the reward. Like it's so unnecessary. I felt, but I guess whatever.
So yeah, and the thing is that I've never, at least that I remember, I'd never seen that in that particular reward, they get to choose somebody to eat with them. It's usually a solo thing, isn't it?
I think back to, I feel like we had that in Korong, didn't we? Where I feel like I remember like Aubrey and Sydney having like a meal like when they're down to like 4. I feel like I remember something along those lines. I could be wrong.
I think you might be right.
Yeah, I feel like they had like some sort of meal along the beach.
So I'm going to come back to this particular spot later on when we talk about the actual final 3, because I heard the exit interview, and there's something interesting that happens at this particular spot. And if you guys know in the chat, let me know if you know anything else, but we're going to get back to it, okay? We go to tribal council, because this is what happens nowadays with so many people still in the finale. It's pretty much challenge tribal with a little bit of maybe a little bit of back at the beach, but not really. Let's go to the tribal council. We have what did you say that they've been calling it?
Randy? Advantage Geddon.
Advantage Geddon finally comes to fruition. That's what I was calling it, Idopocalypse. It finally comes to fruition, and the thing to think about this though is that I think Ty kicks it off by offering that idol to Aubrey. Well, if you actually think about it, actually it's Brad that starts it off by going up to Ty and trying to force him to play the idol the way he wanted to play it.
Mhm.
But so Ty gets up, plays the idol, plays it on Aubrey. Sarah gets up, uses her advantage. Troy gets up, uses his idol. Brad is immune, and poor old Cerie's left without anything.
And I really don't think they put it together that quickly. Seeing their reactions, I think Cerie's the only one who really knew.
Zeke saw it.
Yeah, and you could see them a little bit being confused about what was going on, and I was surprised it didn't hit them faster. But I'm guessing, but then we know there's idols out there, they don't. So I guess, because we were all so prepared for this, and I think we all knew it was either going to be Cirie or Aubrey that were going to get hit by this massive play of idols. So that was kind of a concern all along. Yeah, but it's really interesting what would have happened if none of those idols were played.
Yeah. That's the thing is that Brad kind of tries to force Ty to use the idol, which kind of makes him flip on Brad, which in turn makes him give the idol to Aubrey, and it leaves Cirie vulnerable and the only one able to get voted out. Yeah. I saw a lot of chatter on this on Facebook and on Twitter about this not being fair. I believe it's fair too. I mean, it might suck, but it is definitely fair.
Yeah, absolutely.
I thought it was weird that Sarah had to play the advantage as an idol, because I thought it used to be when you get to that point and you want to use it, and you have to proclaim that you're using it ahead of time, or something like that.
Well, I think it's the same way that Ken used it. It's just it turns into an idol at 6 or 13.
But I think with Ken had before the vote had to get up and say, "I have this."
Yeah, because he didn't know what it was.
Yeah,
that's a good point. He didn't know what the reward of it was. But we knew all along, and the holder knew all along that it was basically a hidden immunity idol that could only be used at 2 spots.
Yeah.
So I think it's just treated the same way. Makes sense.
Okay.
So it comes to something. Abe was actually, I don't see him here right now, but he was talking about how Cirie gets voted off without being voted off, and then it happened in what is it?
All of them were weird.
Yeah.
Every single one of her. She's had a fire making challenge in Panama. She has the surprise final 2 in Micronesia, and in Heroes vs. Villains, she gets idled out with only 3 votes.
Yep.
Against her. So it's anytime she goes out in a non-traditional way, and that is a perfect way for Cirie. That's I really liked the pomp and circumstance she got. I think a lot of people get really frustrated when Probst does certain things, but I thought this was well deserved. I really appreciated it. Even some friends that weren't a huge Cirie fan, because they didn't know who she was before the season, they even appreciated it after the way that she had played, the way she went out, and the way she handled it. I thought it was great.
We got two instances in this season where the people voting the person out get up and clap. And that's with Sandra when she gets voted out for the first time ever. And what did we say? It was 78 days, or no, it was 80 some days, I think it was, before she even got her torch snuffed once. And everyone gets up and claps for her and sends her off. And this time around, Cirie gets, we get to hear the spiel out. I enjoyed it. I know people didn't like it. I don't care. I liked it. This is the kind of stuff that I actually like Jeff to do. So I don't mind him doing it. And then he lets her put out her own torch. So a legend goes out in a legendary way.
Yeah.
Well, also the second time this season that votes weren't even read. after because we also had the Varner, the Varner one for that.
The Varner one, I still kind of want to say that he got kicked out. I don't.
Oh yeah,
pretty much. Pretty much.
I do think it was. I don't know if I agree that they didn't read the votes. I feel like they should have been exposed right there for the votes that they did make. I thought that was a little bit odd because even when people play idols, they're still exposing who they voted for. So even though we know Cerie's the only person, I wish they would have shown them who got votes that time.
Oh, so, Sarah would have been like, "What the f?"
Yeah, she would have been gone.
Yeah. That's the whole thing about this is that Sarah, the winner of the season, would have been eliminated at 6.
If it hadn't have been for Sierra Dawn Thomas giving her the legacy, because they had no idea she had it, so that didn't really change anything. Because she had 3 votes, Ty had 2 votes, and for some reason Brad voted by himself for Aubrey.
I don't know why it looks like Sarah wasn't even planning on using it. Like she was just sitting there and like it's like she wasn't even worried. She wasn't even planning on playing it until Ty brought out his idols.
Yeah.
Like what the hell?
Yeah, I don't think she was going to use it. I think she was going to take it as almost a souvenir because she thought she was safe. But it was that activated everything.
Yeah.
So yeah,
she would have been gone. She would have been long gone.
So Cirie was on Kim's team, right?
Cirie was on Kim's team. Yes.
Well, I mean, we've already said a lot about Cirie. Cirie was a couch potato, self-proclaimed couch potato. I'm not just calling her that. Self-proclaimed couch potato. Got off the couch, came over to Survivor, and she's become a legend of Survivor. And I wouldn't be upset if she came out again.
Absolutely. Played 121 days in her career. That's pretty impressive.
So let's go to the next. Oh, Doug just came in. Oh, Kim's here. Kim's watching us. So yes.
Hi, Kim.
And Doug just said, I think Sarah has to wait to play it because if she plays it first, that triggered idol plays. Idol play. Once someone says an idol, she knows it's safe to play it. But that's the thing, though. I could have sworn last time that they had to announce it before anybody had to say that it was in play before they even voted.
I think it's just because of the nature of what it was, because they didn't know what the reward of the legacy advantage was this time.
Okay, maybe so.
I really think that's the only rhyme or reason behind that. And I honestly think there's no chance Sarah doesn't play that at that tribal. I think no matter what, I think she was playing that.
Maybe it's just the way that that it was edited.
Yeah. I have a feeling Ty jumped on that and played his pretty right when Jeff opened up the floor for that. Yeah, because Troy talks about he wanted to be the last one to play one. Yeah, just to be the kind of the last thing or the jury sees. Yeah. So let's go to the next day. Cirie's out. There's 5 left. We have Brad, Ty, Troyzan, Sarah, and Aubrey still in it. They do this ball immunity. Ball savvy.
Ball savviness, which it's been missing kind of all season.
Well, they do tend to hold this sort of ball savvy one till the end. It's usually, I feel like a lot of times it's the final, thinking of the one that Kelly Wentworth lost to go home, that Jeremy won. I feel like this was the final one in Tocantins, if I remember correctly, that JT won. So I feel like they have it a lot of times, this sort of, it's usually the one where you have to catch the ball and put it back in.
Yeah, that's what I thought it was.
That's what I thought it was going to be at first too, but it's very similar. It's just kind of getting it through a maze instead.
I was amazed at how easy Brad did this.
Yeah, he was impressive.
And that was fast. I was like, come on, Sarah. You can't let yourself be exposed here. Just go at it, you know? And I kept balling. Aubrey and Ty didn't even get past the first little obstacle.
Yeah. Troy couldn't even get in on his little stick.
I just remember it goes, everybody's balls are dropping. I'm like,
yeah, but I mean, Brad handled all his balls before anybody got one in. So
yeah.
that something I miss is the out of context, inappropriate tropes, quotes.
We'll give it all to you right here. All the balls.
So Brad wins this again, and once again, this is Aubrey knows that she's gonna be odd man out or odd woman out. There's no way she believes that they're gonna take her. Aubrey is just we've seen her in a final. We see how she talks. There's no way I would have taken her ever. Any contradictory thoughts on that?
I thought there might be a chance. I thought there might be a chance, but I thought it was pretty unlikely that Sarah and Ty flipped that way. But I guess it's because we didn't know how close Sarah was to Troy and Brad. I don't think we understood that to that fullest extent yet. But Aubrey played a great game, in my opinion. She was very quiet, under the radar, always on the bottom. Got lucky a couple times with some swaps, some pretty good timing for her. I am a big Aubrey fan.
Yeah, I didn't think Aubrey was gonna be someone that I enjoyed and go wrong at the very beginning because she was breaking down in day 1 or day 2, and then very quickly she turned it around. And by the merge, she was starting to make moves left and right. And I like Aubrey as a player. I think she'll come back. I think she'll come back one day. So Aubrey was with whose team? Was that
Aubrey, I think also with Kim.
Also with Kim. Kim actually brought up a question here. Do you think Ty would have given Cirie the idol in the previous tribal if it wasn't for the week before? Yes.
You think so?
I think so. Well, I don't know because
I don't think Ty's given up that idol to anyone but Aubrey.
Well, I would have said yes, but then if they wouldn't have shown Aubrey and Ty get close at the previous episode, for some reason they showed us that. And they didn't really give us a lot of Ty and Aubrey. So before that episode, I think maybe I would have thought that maybe yes, maybe. But I don't know. Okay, well, let's get back to the tribal at hand. So Aubrey tries to convince Sarah and Ty to turn on Troyzan and take her to the end. But again, I can't see anybody taking Aubrey to the end. That's just me. What does the chat think? Would you have will any of you have taken Aubrey to the end and let her speak her case at the final tribal council?
Yeah, the only thing I could think is them trying to weaken Brad. But I don't know. It's dependent on the perception of Brad. I know everyone really liked Brad out there. Brad, I think, can speak. He has the challenges behind him, so I thought he could have been a big threat. So I thought taking out Troyzan would weaken Brad, but it was a risk. I think they made the right decision getting rid of Aubrey, but I think there was a chance to at least consider it.
Yeah, I would never. Just like we said before, if you're gonna give or divulge an advantage that you have to somebody, you wouldn't give it to Cirie. I would never take Aubrey to the end. I'm sorry. So
she's very articulate, and once she gets to the final, it's just you're done. It's as if bringing Cirie to the finals.
And
we thought that with Michelle, though.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
That's a different cast, though. I mean, it's newbies, and they get bitter. You know that.
So Aubrey goes home. We already talked about her. We have 4 people left, and this is 4 people left, and we still have like an hour or something left of the finale.
At this point in time, I get really worried when we get to this point in time in the episode where I think the only way the final tribal council will be any bit entertaining is if we have Brad and Sarah both there. The only way, I say, if one of them, and that's where I get really worried for the rest of the episode, because if we lose one of them, it's a blowout either way in the final.
Yeah, it's gonna be 10-0.
Yeah, exactly. Either way. So I got really worried about that. I was really hoping for the best final tribal council to see a Sarah, Cirie, Brad. I thought that would have been the best tribal council of kind of a toss-up, but yeah, we didn't get that. But I thought that would have been a really interesting final three to see where things go. I think that would have been the most balanced.
Shell says Ty and Trojan would have been the best.
The best two to take to the end.
Yeah, I was just reading that. But yeah, then say a great case. Well, I thought Sarah was gonna take Michaela and Ty. Neither one of them make it to the end, which I was really worried that Ty was gonna make it to the end, and then we're gonna be like, oh yeah, we thought he was going out first, and he makes it to final tribal council.
Don't remind me that I still picked him. Yeah.
So we go to the final immunity challenge, and Brad at this point already has 4 immunity wins. What did you think of this challenge? I personally loved it. What do you guys think?
What was this? Wait.
This was
the one they had to kind of climb through the things and get the bags and then put together the lighthouse.
Yeah, it was the stairs, the slide, the little kind of, not really a maze, but little obstacle, untie the rope, get down at the end, and make the little lighthouse puzzle.
The lighthouse, the water slide looks fun.
I saw Ty, and I saw Brad go in there like backwards for some reason or another. I think Troyzen did it too. I would like these type of challenges where you have to kind of just keep going back and forth. But didn't really give Troyzen too much of a hope to finish this, or even be close in it, because we know that he's hurt his knee. I don't know if it's a torn ACL. I believe that he's hurt, but I don't know if it's torn ACL. I don't think he would be running the way he was running if it was torn ACL. So yeah, Brad seems to be able to power it through. Sarah had a lead here, but it vanishes at the very last bag, the very last lock, and Brad puts this puzzle together.
Brad rocked the puzzle. He rocked it.
Yeah. So at this point, I was scared. I was like, there's no way he's going to take Sarah. There's no way he's going to take Sarah. Ty is the one that he needs to take. Troyzen is the one that he needs to take. There's no way he can take Sarah, knowing how she played.
Yeah. Well, I just want to reflect on the fact that Brad won 5 out of the final 6 immunities. The only one he missed out of the final 6 was the stacking one that Aubrey won because her boyfriend taught her how to do it. That was the only one out of the final 6 that he lost. He won all the other 5 out of the final 6, 4 out of the last 4. So that's really Mike Hollowayed himself to the end.
Yeah, that's very impressive. Very, very impressive.
Oh, absolutely.
So yeah,
then he funks it up.
well, I will talk about this. We'll talk about this here at this point here. So, Troy, like I said, to me, Troyzen and Ty would be the ones I would take if I was Brad. No, absolutely the one that I would take, and I believe I would win. But at the same time, Sarah and Ty don't know who Brad's going to vote for. Brad and Troyzen. They know Brad and Troyzen are going to be voting together. Who are they going to vote for, though? Best way to double your chances is to cause a tie, go to a fire starting challenge, and I don't know. Would you risk going to a fire starting challenge if you kind of knew that you were not going home?
So you're saying if you're Sarah?
If you're Sarah, would you risk it?
I think if it would have been different, if it would have been someone that was a potential jury threat as one of the 2 potential people that may go home, maybe. But the fact that it's 2 people that one of them is going to finish 3rd no matter what, make it easy and get rid of Ty. I just
Yeah.
thought that if it would have been like Troyzan won final immunity and Brad is the one there, and you can either all vote together to vote out Ty or have a chance to vote out Brad, that you jump on. But it's not worth it with the Ty and Troyzan. It's who gets third place.
So this is what we were talking about earlier. At the reward challenge or the reward immunity challenge, when Brad, Troyzan, and Sarah go out to eat, Sarah struck a deal with both Troyzan and Brad. She said this in her exit interview. Sarah said, I think she kind of played the Tony game here. She had this bracelet that she doesn't take off ever, and she had it during Cagayan. She said to Troyzan and Brad, this is me showing you that I have your back, that I'm going to be loyal to you. That's going to be us three. I'm going to give you my bracelet, but you all have to give something up. Troyzan has some stuff on him, so he gives it up. She convinced Brad to give up his wedding ring. We know how much Brad loves Monica. He's not going to give up that wedding ring. He gives up the wedding ring to Sarah.
Yeah.
And Sarah tells him, if you screw me over, I'm throwing this into the ocean. So
Sarah's sneaky. I thought that was great.
I go, wow. Okay. I mean,
because in her mind, I can buy a new bracelet. It's not really worth anything. But what Troyzan and Brad gave up is worth much more than what I gave up. And I think that's the key.
The thing is, like, I understand why Brad did this, but there's no way someone's going to talk me out of my wedding ring.
No, you go out there with a fake wedding ring first. You have to. Hold on to it for 30 days. Talk about how important it is to you your whole time you're out there. And then once you get to about 30 days, then you can start peddling that thing off for votes.
Yeah, go out there with a cubic zirconium or like some sort of plexiglass something.
Well, that's the thing, though, is that I don't. She played the game that Tony wanted to play. Mm-hmm. Tony said he was going to use that little rock to represent his children or his wife and his son, and give it to people.
I still found the rock thing lame.
Weird. Yeah,
it was super lame.
But she used it in a different kind of light. She used her bracelet as trust, and she was able to convince him to get rid of Ty. And I think that was brilliant. Mark, Ty was on your team, right?
Yeah, and I mean, good on Sarah for dodging this one, and for Ty, he's a fun character to watch, and and as not savvy as he might be with the game, it was just a joy to watch him go through this experience and experience this with him. And he's always gonna be one of those fun kooky characters that brings a little bit of levity into the season. And thanks, Ty, for playing again.
I'm gonna be hot take here. I don't think I've ever enjoyed Ty or any one of his scenes. I don't know. I've never been a fan of Ty. I've never really been entertained by Ty. Been very frustrated by Ty a lot.
Especially this season. It's been rough. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. And last season, he annoyed me, too. I don't need to see him back at all, please.
I don't need to see him back. I don't dislike Ty. If I met him in person, I know I would like him as a person.
I'm sure he's I agree. I'm sure he's a great.
But as a Survivor player, I can't see bringing him back you would justify bringing him back at all. You
have to give him some credit because he now has the highest average game. For average days per season that he's played, He is number one on the list right now. He passed.
Sandra.
No, it wasn't Sandra. It was Parvati and Parvati and Spencer had it before with 38. He's now at 38 and a half. With Aubrey. Aubrey's in the 38.
Well, before this this season, Sandra had 39. So
yeah, exactly.
Oh well.
So Ty's gone. We have our final three. Finally, are down to final three: Troyzan, Brad, and Sarah. What do you guys think of this final three? What group chat? What do you guys think of this final three?
I think they were a three for a long time that we didn't see that clearly, because they voted together like the last 4 times or so. We think back to the Michaela vote; those were the votes against Michaela. They voted together against, except for Brad kind of voted for Aubrey, so that was really weird. But then they all voted together for Aubrey. They all voted together for Ty. Brad and Troyzan voted together, I think, every single time they were at Tribal together. So I thought it's a good 3. I thought it's pretty obvious that it was actually a 2. But I thought going into Tribal, before Tribal started, I know who I wanted to win, but I thought it was legitimately still potentially up in the air.
Yeah, me too. And let's talk about the new format. Did you guys like the new final Tribal format?
I loved it.
Yeah,
I loved it. I thought it was great. I thought that you as a player had more freedom to hit the points that you want, to provide more evidence to really kind of steer the direction you wanted to go. Instead of being asked a specific question, you really could, because if you're asked a specific question, you're not always going to be able to get to the points that are important to your game. I think that I would be very interested to find out what seasons would have a different result if they would have done this. I know that Aubrey potentially thinks that she could have won if she would have had it. I know that Sophie thinks she would have lost if she would have had it, because I feel like that's an interesting thing to think about.
What was I gonna say? I was gonna say something, but I lost it. Go on.
So I asked. Oh, well, Doug says he loves the new format, but Jeff needs to guide only and not ask questions. I can see that, because if Jeff starts to lead questions, he can lead it to what he wants to be the winner.
Yeah, well, this is Jeff trying to go against a bitter jury. This is the Michelle Fitzgerald rule. But people complain about that the jury was bitter and didn't vote for the right person. But then when the show tries to do something about it, they complain that Jeff's getting too involved. I didn't think Jeff crossed any lines. I think he facilitated a strong discussion between the group, kept things in line, and kept things under control. I thought it was great. I really, really loved the final Tribal Council. I loved seeing Troyzan gracefully bow out and say, "Oh, I have no chance here. Okay, see you guys." I thought that was great.
Yeah. This seemed more like a focus group than anything else.
That's a great way of putting it.
And the reason I liked it is because the problem is with the way when people grandstand in the other format, and I hope this is the new format. But the other format, when people grandstand, they don't always let the person answer the question, and then if the person doesn't say, "Can I finish answering the question?" they don't get their full point across. And what I like in that too is if you ever watch like Law and Order or whatever, when the defense attorney starts badgering the witness, or before he starts badgering the witness, but he starts pointing the questions at a certain direction, and then all of a sudden the person doesn't get to answer, and then turns around, "I'm done with this guy."
Yeah,
kind of the same thing. the jury starts to ask questions, knowing that they want a certain answer, and then the other person doesn't really get to answer and express themselves.
Yeah, I feel like it'd be very interesting to see how it would go on a newbie season. I think looking at this crew, this was a great jury. It really was. I thought they were all very intelligent. I thought that honestly, Ozzy surprised me. I felt like he spoke pretty intelligently and pretty eloquently. I've never thought of Ozzy that way. If he maybe had been a little bit more eloquent and intelligent, he may have beaten Ewell, but he didn't.
Well, one vote.
Exactly. So I thought it was really interesting. I thought Zeke did a great job. I thought that Sarah did a good job. I really liked seeing that out there. I appreciated Michaela calling out, be like, "What do you know about me?" That was really interesting. I thought I loved it. I loved the whole tribal council.
That's the thing, though. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Mark.
No. I was just saying, with this new format, the boring jurors don't have to take up that much of our time, and the people that actually had something to say.
Go ahead.
No. You froze for a second.
All I said was, did everyone speak? I'm not sure if the boring people did.
I think Haley spoke for a little bit.
All she said was, "Oh, I haven't made up my mind yet." That was all we got from Haley the whole time.
Yeah.
Only thing she said.
Well, the thing is that this type of jury format also allows someone like Deb to continue to make nonsense.
Yeah.
Because she kept saying that Sarah only got there because of Troy, Zen, and Brad.
No.
Deb was not paying attention to the rest of the game once she was in the jury, or even when she was playing the game.
Not really. Yeah, her head was never really in the strategy, and her vote in the end was very personal, and it just shows you how much she doesn't understand the game. And when she started vouching for Brad, I was like, is this a good thing for Brad now that Debbie is now vouching for his game? Isn't that kind of a game poison for him?
Let me see here. I'm trying to see.
The only thing, giving Brad a little bit of, thinking back to that, what Debbie said, honestly, though, she wouldn't have gotten to the final three if it wasn't for Brad and Troyzan at the final four.
True.
Very true. Thinking back on it a little bit further, she's the one who put that in motion at the final six at the reward. So I agree with that it wasn't the sole reason, but I think there is little moments like that where they didn't give Sarah the credit she deserved.
Yeah.
Brad and Troyzan.
So going back to Michaela asking Brad, so what do you know about me? I think that right there, it indicates the lack of social game that Brad had. Even though he was a lot better than the first time around, he seemed to be a lot more gracious with people. He seemed to get along with people, but it's more than just getting along with people. This is a social experiment.
He knew how to control the votes, but he wasn't really that personable with all the other players. He knew how to manipulate the votes to go his way, and people didn't really feel close. And it was pure business relationship between him and some of the other players. As for Sarah, she had personal talks with other players, and they felt closer to her that way. I think that really swung it.
Well, the thing is that Brad might have been this whole togetherness with his tribe. Remember when it looked like there was a cult of Brad for that moment when Debbie went crazy on him. But then after the merger, it kind of felt like, there's 6 of us. You can't mess with us. So we're gonna take you all out, and then it's gonna be all of us. And from there on, I felt like he didn't come back to the point where he needed to be to get along with everybody. He put himself in that position. That's the thing. And what I would have liked is if Sarah would have been like, Michaela, I know this, and this of you.
Yeah, I agree.
That way she can jump in, and I think that would have. And I don't know, maybe she did, but we weren't showing that.
Yeah.
Let's see what's in the chat going on here. So Doug says there's a potential for Jeff to have too much influence. He was fine this time.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
Patty says she loves the new jury format. Nick, who doesn't watch Survivor, says that there should be fights to death next season. Patty says that Jeff had said that a year ago that this new format would be a focus group, and she said that it was in the Toronto Sun interview. Okay, so
I like it.
Okay. Doug says Haley asked if Brad used condensation as a strategy.
That was a good point.
Did I read that right?
Yeah.
Patty says Debbie's delusional. She's bitter. Yeah, we all know that. And Patty says if it wasn't for Sierra, Sarah would have been voted out because she wouldn't have had the legacy advantage.
Here's what I have to say about that, because I saw Patty's comment there, and I'm going to throw a little bit of a wrench into it. Yes, the legacy advantage, you could not give it to someone, but you can give your individual immunity to someone. So Brad won that final 6. He very likely could have done something with it. He knows he's already safe. He can use his legacy that he has to use at that one, but he can't get rid of the legacy, so he could get rid of his own individual immunity necklace, a la Eric Reichenbach. And so I think there's something you can do there that hasn't really fully been discussed or thought of, but maybe we'll see it at some point in time if the legacy advantage returns.
Can you imagine if let's say this legacy advantage was available in Caramoan and Eric had it and he goes, I'm giving my vote, and everybody votes on him, and then he goes, hey, by the way, I have this legacy advantage.
Oh, I think that's what I'm in my head. That's what Brad did. If Sierra would have given it to Brad, like we kind of thought she probably should have, I see Brad handing it off. I'm going to give this individual immunity to Sarah. And then they all try to pile it onto Brad because this is their chance. And then he screws him over by playing the legacy. I think that would have been great television.
That would have been awesome.
But I don't know. I think there's potential there for something.
Anything on the final tribal that you guys want to bring up?
The vote breakdown, it just kind of showed you who had a better sense of the game and who didn't.
Here's the only thing that I didn't like about the reunion, which, I mean, the final tribal kind of bled into the reunion, is that when they came live, not even talking about Brad's mustache or anything, porn stash, Brad didn't even try to make it look like he thought he had won. Yeah. He looked defeated. He looked like Russell. Like Russell.
Even when he was answering the questions, he looked defeated.
At first, he was like
the reading of the votes,
but when at the end, when it looked like Brad got frazzled at the end of the last questions, and he was just like, like that's when I knew that, like, okay, Sarah has this almost locked in already. And then of course when they went live and I saw Brad, I'm like, there's no way he won. There's no way he thinks he won at least. And Sarah takes it 7-3. Mm-hmm. So this is what I asked. Survivor fans, did the right person win? Who would you have voted for? Survivor finale. Sarah still got 77% of the vote. Brad got 19% of the vote. Troyzan got 3%. What? I think that was Abe.
I thought about voting Troyzan and that just to be a jerk, but I voted Sarah.
I think it was either Abe or that was Nick, because Nick he's
Troyzan himself.
Yeah.
Before he blocks you. I'm shocked I didn't get blocked this week. It was kind of my goal. I really wanted to get blocked this week, but I didn't.
I used an asterisk. So I also did I say that I asked people if they liked the new format. 71% said yes. 29% said no. So yeah, I feel that at least the majority of the fans like this new format. I'm not gonna say twist; it's a format.
Well, like Doug said, I think people have some reservations for potential if Probst gets too involved. I think that's been the biggest concern that people had. It was Probst's involvement in it, which he did fine this time, but I think some people are concerned of a time where he may overstep his bounds if he sees it going away that he's not going to like it.
I think that as long as
I don't know.
I think as long as the cast is beautifully cast, that it will be the jury that leads this new format.
Yeah.
If they do put in duds into the cast and they make it to the jury and they don't know what to ask, they don't know how to run that focus group, it's gonna blow up, and Jeff is gonna have to take it lead, and that's what's gonna happen. So yeah. Anything that we're missing, guys? Chat. Are we missing anything on the finale here?
One thing I do want to mention about the finale, and someone in the chat made a comment about it, and I said I have thoughts. We'll bring this up later. I don't believe that 5 people would have voted for Ty.
No,
I don't believe it, because Ozzy raised his hand that he was going to vote for Ty over Brad. I don't believe it. I think that was set up to talk about the new rule. I really think to talk about what the tiebreaker is. I think there was something there. I'm glad that the tiebreaker is what it is, because that's what in my mind, that's what it's been for 33 seasons, or as long as we've had Final 3. I think that makes the most sense. I think no matter what, before you leave the island, the 3 finalists should also vote for someone of the other 3. That should be a precaution that they do every time in case of this. But I can't believe that 5 of those jury members would have voted for Ty over Brad.
So is there going to be a tie next season?
See, that's what some people think, and I don't know if I think it's going to be that soon. I don't know.
It's just random that he just decided to bring it up.
Yeah, I think that's weird.
Especially since in previous season finales, he says it's a secret that they're not going to. He said that they would never reveal the secret tiebreaker.
Yeah, I don't know. I think they just now figured out what the rule is.
I remember when in was it Cambodia or not sure where it was. Yeah, Cambodia, where right in the season finale, they were like, something's gonna happen that has never happened in the season. And I'm like, and I thought it was gonna be a tie, and everybody's like, it can't be a tie. What's gonna happen? I'm like, if it's a tie, the third person's gonna have to vote.
It makes the most sense.
Yeah, I mean, what? And the only downside of there is that everybody knows who they voted for, right? The third place person, who wins this.
Well, that's what makes me think that they should do it on the island. They don't need to say it's a tie. But always, no matter what,
third person votes.
That should be a precaution. That
have them lock in the votes.
All 3 of them vote. Say, if there happens to be a tie, who do you vote for to win between the other 2? I think they should be doing that every time, no matter what, just as a precaution, because then it doesn't ruin it. It doesn't spoil it. And then it will be known in the future that this is what they always do. So if that happens all of a sudden randomly, that's not going to be, oh, obviously this is going to be a tie. Whoever I vote for wins. So I just think that there's some production stuff they should be doing.
Okay, I can see that. Doug says, I was on the edge of my seat watching the new format. It was fantastic TV, in my opinion. I agree. Yep. There was a point where I thought Sarah was starting to lose it now, and then it got turned back around. I'm like, okay, maybe not. Okay, so then what's the point there? So overall, what did you all think of the season? Love it? Hate it?
I'll let Mark go first.
Okay, fine. Overall, I think it was very interesting how things progressed throughout the season, especially after the merge. It was sad to have all the winners go out pre-merge, but I think the people that were left after the merge, they all try to bring their A game, and I appreciated that.
Yeah, I thought it was a good season. I would probably place it right in the middle somewhere if I was ranking them right now. Production should be very happy that Cirie lasted as long as she did, because she was the saving grace for a lot of people. Because after everyone's favorites went out so early in the pre-merge, and we have Brad, Troy, and Ty, who were 3 out of like our last 3 people that we drafted. And I think I said that I hosted like 8 different drafts, and Brad was picked on an average 17th. So like it just people that not a lot of people were expecting, or as we proved in Cambodia, wanted there. No one really wanted to be there. So I thought it was good. I thought that even the unlikable characters that we thought were going to be unlikable, I thought handled the season pretty well. I was surprised that I was fine with Troy. I was fine with Brad. Average, middle of the road, place at about 20th.
I would say in the middle as well. I would say maybe even 15th, maybe. And here's the thing.
Top half is rough.
This is the why. Because the beginning, pre-merge, was freaking awesome. All those episodes with Sandra in it, just to have Sandra back, the queen, that person who has never been voted off, and this is her 3rd time out there, against Tony. That very first episode, Tony versus Sandra, going at it back. And then when we first thought it was going to be a super alliance, all of a sudden it turns into a Mexican standoff, and Sandra gets the better of him. And then just all the stuff she did until she got voted off. We had a bit of a low. Yes, we had that double tribe, single boot tribal council where everybody scrambled. We had a lot of things that happened, right? The problem I feel that people look down on this season is that a lot of the favorites went out pre-merge. And even people who are down on this season because Sarah won. Let's say Aubrey had the exact same edit, exact same everything. People would not be so upset if Aubrey would have won it with the exact same edit, the exact same moves, exact same. And people would be happy that Aubrey won, and they would be like, best season or top season. I think it's just not liking the winner, which polls, the poll people who took the poll liked Sarah winning. They thought she should have won, and I like the season. I don't think it's the best season. I think there's a lot of stuff that could have been fixed. I think there should be less idols, less advantages. Go further back, keep the idols out there, keep multiple idols, but just not so many of them.
It wasn't the fact that there were so many of them. It's just the fact that they didn't get used. There wasn't really any more than they normally had. They had like one at each camp. Ty used his. He got it again. He got the other camp. So I think they just didn't use them early. We sat through a lot of episodes without things getting used until it was almost too late. I think Doug worded it perfectly. That I think there was some fantastic individual episodes, but overall it was a middle of the road season that probably won't age well. I think that's well said.
I think that's
well said. Yeah,
I can see that. I still think there's too many idols out there at once.
I think there's too many advantages.
I think it should. Well, that too. If they're gonna do, let's stop breaking the tribes up to 3 and 3s. I don't like the 3 tribe format. We don't get to see the people that we want to see as much. Break it to two tribes, two idols at one time, and that's it. You can rehide them if you want, but don't more than 2 at a time.
Along those same lines, where do you guys put Sarah in a winner ranking off the top of your head? Because I kind of was trying to think about it before this.
I don't normally rank the winners.
But just kind of a rough area. You got anything, Mark? What do you think?
So sorry, what were we talking about?
Of where you would, if you had to, where would you rank Sarah on a winner ranking?
Winner ranking, I'll probably maybe 18 through 20.
Oh, wow.
Right in that range, right in the middle, because she had good points in the game, but there are also lots of opportunities for her to go out and you know, it's she and that final tribal council, she really saved herself there because it could have gone to Brad at any moment, and she really saved herself at that final tribal. So overall, she didn't really control the game as much as some of the other winners that we have had. But it didn't. She was still good. She was decent.
I think she controlled a lot of the game.
Yeah.
So I would give her even a 1 upper 15.
Okay.
Why? Because she did control a lot of the game. She used the advantages to her advantage. She found advantages that weren't even for her, and she stayed and was only targeted once the whole time. For someone who was in and out, she should have been targeted a long time ago.
I agree.
Reason why she's not going to be looked at as a top 10, top 5 winner is because she didn't articulate her game plan to us, the viewers, throughout the game. The confessionals weren't there. Confessionals like the way Rob does it, the way Sandra does them, the way that that Tony did them. That's not her. That's just not her. Even when she won the game, she didn't show a lot of emotion. And I think it comes to her saying that it's because of her job. She's an undercover agent. She has to hold her emotions in. She has to. Maybe that's it. I don't know. But I think that's why people will put her down. I don't normally rank the winners, so I say middle. Yeah. But if I were to think about it, I might go up further.
I'm just thinking about it because I just went through that recent exercise of ranking all the winners with Rob and doing all that, and looking at that list, I think I had her at 11th.
Okay.
Where I would put her in the top third. Looking at some of the things I said, I think Patty and Shell and Doug, I think all agreed with me there.
Mm-hmm.
No, Patty said lower, but I would put her at 11th. I think that she voted in the right way every time. Yes, she voted. She didn't vote for Haley to go, but that was a vote split, whatever. She only had 3 votes that were cast against her all season, and they were eliminated by the legacy advantage. I gotta give you some effort. I mean, some extra points if you win a returnee season. I think that the level of gameplay has got to be higher. Looking at Jeremy's win, I give him a little bit of extra credit there. And I think everything really went her way. I just think that Sarah's really impressive, and I think that she will be looked back fondly on.
I think, even though like you said that it might age well, I think people will appreciate her better later on.
I think her game will. Yeah, I think that the season won't, but I think her game will.
Yep. So like I said, I had asked what people thought of this. 72% they loved it. I have Ariel who had said great season minus the winner. It would have been exceptional if one's choice for winner had to come to fruition. I asked who she picked. She had picked Culpepper. I feel Sarah used non-shoot players so that they were easy plays, whereas Culpepper never really dinked a soul and seemed the game was his. It goes back to what we said. Brad just didn't play the social part of the game. Maybe in the first couple of seasons he might have won with this format or the way he played. That's not so much anymore.
Yeah, I guess. I'm always going to pick a player like Sarah over Brad when it comes down to it.
I'm always going to pick the social person that does the social.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So let's go into the draft real quick before we talk about next season.
Oh, yeah. I'm sure you want to go to the draft. Just so everyone's aware, I did get last because my team all of a sudden decided to abandon me at the end. Let me flip over to this.
Good night. Oh, by the way, good night, Patty.
Bye, Patty.
Why won't it let me flip over here? Okay, there we go. So yeah, with the draft, our winner this season was Kim. She pulled it out in the finale. Brad's immunity wins really, really helped her. So Kim wins the season with 179 points. Then Mark is close behind with 169 points. And then Saul finishes in third with 122 as he passes me at the end, getting all those Sarah jury votes. And then I end up with 100. So overall, Kim and Mark were pretty close, and then Saul and I were pretty close.
And just remember, Mark and I were actually both voted for the worst teams. And we ended in the middle. Randy was voted the best team and ended up at the end. And I think Kim was voted in the middle. And
I win fan favorite at least. I got to win fan favorite somewhere in there.
You got America's vote.
Yeah.
So guys, what do you guys think of the next season's theme?
I do gotta say, I am partially excited because I have met one of the girls on the season, so that's exciting for me.
On a date?
I met her actually at an RHAP event.
Oh, okay, cool.
Last summer, so right when she was announced, I was like, oh, I remember that girl. So that was cool. That'll be exciting to kind of watch that one. But I like the idea. I hate the name. It's definitely gonna be Triple H. Or I think my favorite one that I've been hearing is Survivor Hee Hee Hoo. I just keep saying that every time. I find it so funny. But I think that I'm intrigued to see how an 18-player season will go after we haven't had one for a while since Korong. I would love it if they made it a final two. I'm wondering if with that we won't get as jam-packed of a finale since we're starting with less players. So that I think there's some interest. I think there could be some interesting stuff there. I don't mind the 3 tribe seasons. I think I kind of like it, but I don't know. We'll see. What are you guys? Are you guys a hero, a healer, or a hustler?
I'm a hustler.
Oh, I agree. I think I am too.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm just based on what I do. I'm not a hero.
Yeah, based on those, I sit at a computer all day long. I'm none of those.
I'm barely a hustler.
Yeah, I just love thinking of different theme names. I think as I posted on Twitter before this, I think I put Gyros, Gila Monsters, and Huskies. I've also heard Hunchbacks, Heathens, and Hooligans. I think there's lots of fun ones that you can come up with.
Well, Steve, who he's not in here with us today, but he's a viewer of the show. Yeah, but how about Survivor RPG? I'm like, yes, Warriors versus healers versus trolls. There you go.
Yeah, I like it. I like the theme. I like focusing on people's positive attributes, whatever. I don't look forward to hearing Jeff talking about how the hustlers need to hustle to catch up. And I think when he tries to force in the theme, that gets a little frustrating. But I'm going to hope that whole theme goes away after 2 weeks when we have a shuffle.
That's what normally happens.
Yeah. But since it's in the name of the season, I'm kind of worried about that.
So, I've been saying it since I read it because Inside Survivor released it, I believe. And I normally have that blocked, but someone that I know shared it, so I was able to read it. But not that I had to, but whatever. I don't mind theme reveals.
No.
I was like, what the hell? What the hell is this? And then I'm like, okay, let's not get nerd ragey because when at the end of Cole Wrong when Millennial versus Gen X was renounced, I was like, oh, first of all, I was so upset that Aubrey didn't win, and then all of a sudden Millennials versus Gen X. I'm like, what the hell is this?
Yeah, I hated the name when that came out, but now it doesn't seem that weird.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't. I actually like the way it sounds.
Yeah, I agree, but this one is a little bit, I don't know.
It's a little long.
It's real long.
Yeah, like I said, it is a roll off the tongue. Same thing. Millennial versus Gen X is not that short of a one either, but the season was great. That I think that contribute to us liking the name of the season after all. And I hope, based on what people we saw, I'm optimistic this is going to be a great season.
Yeah.
And so yeah.
Um,
The thing is, they're also naming the tribes after the theme, because the tribe names have come out, and they're the Fijian, words for heroes, healers, and hustlers.
Yeah.
And I don't know how heavy that's going to tie into the plot for the season, but there's that.
Yeah, I agree.
Shell said that she hopes that the surgeon's going to have to operate with a seashell. And Nick said, like in Demolition Man, no, the shell in Demolition Man is not for a surgery; it's for something else. I think that's it. I think that's it for season 34. We forget anything? I don't think we're forgetting anything.
I could be like Varner and try to plug a book right now.
No. Look,
No, I shouldn't do that.
no.
We can leave it there.
Leave it there. I love Warner, but CBS shouldn't have let him do that.
Yeah,
I'll leave it there.
I swear, he just kept talking. I think he said they told him, "Oh, you're gonna need to cut here soon. We're about to go live," and he kept talking to purposely do that. Doug, don't tell me to talk about Nate from New Zealand. I don't want to talk about Nate from New Zealand. I'm mad at Nate from New Zealand.
I haven't finished watching.
don't say anything yet.
Well, I always don't like Nate. You guys know that.
I thought he just throw it in there. I thought he was going to medevac, and I saw him thrown on the ground during the episode 4 or something like that. Episode 5.
I just want to, as Shell says, congratulations, Sarah. I thought she played a great game. Good season. I liked seeing a lot of my favorites back. It was fun.
I hope to see Sandra back. I hope to see Suri back. If someone's going to get a 5th chance to come back, I hope it's Suri. I hope it's not for a couple of years. There's been too many returning player seasons bunched up at once. I want some distance before we return back. I hope to see Suri back.
In what format would you like to see Suri back? Blood versus Water?
Yeah, I would love to see Suri in Blood versus Water with her son.
With her son that had no idea how many times his mom had played Survivor. And if you listen to the extended interview with him, that kid I feel like he's never seen Survivor before. I was shocked by that. I'm like, kid, you have no idea how big of a deal your mom is. Like, that was frustrating to me.
He needs to go back and watch all his mom seasons.
Michaela and her mom. Yeah. I don't think that's gonna happen. But
Michaela's gonna come back. She will come back.
Yeah,
in like 10 years.
Yeah,
a few years. Yeah.
Okay. Season 4: Champions versus Challengers. Invasion of the Champions.
I was gonna say, are you going all MTV Challenge on us, Doug?
Okay. Shell says Malcolm can come back at any time. Do you guys think Sarah's coming back?
Yes, winter season. She'll be back.
Yeah. All right.
To address subculture, NZ, we took this week off of New Zealand because we knew we were going to have a longer episode for the finale here. So I do believe we plan on talking about New Zealand next week.
Double episode.
Yeah, we'll do a double episode next week.
We might do that on a Wednesday so that we can do the add-on episode with on Thursday.
Yep. Just a reminder, Adam Klein, get your questions in.
Yes.
Join us live. Are we doing it live?
Yes. He's going to be here with us. we don't have a time yet because we're still narrowing it down.
Yep.
But Adam Klein will be with us next season. The whole season. No,
Oh, yeah.
next episode. Next episode, and he's gonna be taking questions, and he's gonna tell us what he thought about the Game Changer season. So
DM any of your questions to any of us. We'll get them compiled. DM them if they're too long, or just tweet them at us, and we'll make sure that we get some good stuff going for you. I hope you guys really like that show. I think it'll be a good one.
Yeah.
Subculture NZ said Power Trio would be a good theme.
Power Trio. Interesting.
What if we're going back to themes again? What if they what's his name? From our cases, what's his name? He's been trying to get back with Neela. John.
Oh, John Carroll.
John Carroll. He's been trying to get back on, and I don't think he's gonna get back on. I'm sorry, but he's been saying that there should be some type of buddy season where kind of like, I guess, the MTV Challenge, where if your partner gets voted out, you go too, kind of thing. I don't know. That's too much for Survivor season.
No, I agree with that.
Not unless you involve
a lot of people.
And probably Redemption.
I like the idea of Redemption Island. I like it.
I do.
I'm gonna end with that terrible thought, but I like it.
I don't think Redemption Island is the worst season. I just gotta say that it's not.
Depending on how you edit it, just how you edit it into the show, where you place it in the show, it matters. Yeah.
John Carroll promised us an interview when our first season aired of me and Mark, and then he backed out on it at the very end.
Where you at, John? Where you at?
He can join the other list of survivors that will follow a ton of fans to try to build an audience to come back for some sort of fan vote, and then completely unfollow you a week later.
Yeah. Okay, we're
no shade.
We're starting to lose it now. Okay, guys,
they're not gonna listen.
One last thing, guys. For those of you who are still with us and all that, Kim was with us in the chat. Something happened, and she's not gonna be here till next season. If you guys follow us, you know what happened. Go to our Twitter. We're gonna have a link so you can help her out. Yeah. If you guys can't help out with any with $5, $10, at least share it. That will help out a great deal.
Yeah, agreed.
All right, guys. We'll see you guys next week, and then after that, next season.
Thanks for joining us.
Bye, guys.